How many views do you think CNN got in prime time, 3-hour segments every day for 1 week in May?
5 million maybe, I don't know.
83,000. Lowest level of all time. Fox at the highest was 186,000. Think about what is happening right in front of us. The media is no longer actually reaching the masses because they've lost complete trust with them. In fact, 30-year-olds have more trust in you, social media influencers, than they do the mainstream media. That is what I am seeing right in front of us, is we're like, show me what's real, because I do not trust puppets who parrot things from teleprompters. They know that you and I are having a real conversation. There's no teleprompter in sight. When you look at your notes, you look at your notes. It's real. And I think that is what I'm realizing with our message. We have to be honest, because nobody trusts anybody right now.
We got to talk about the massive decline of mainstream media. And it's been going on for quite some time. 83,000 views in 3-hour segments, over 3 hours. Less than 100,000 views. Less than 100K in 3 hours. That is absolutely wild. Absolutely, positively wild, especially when you consider the fact that little old me, right here, I can pull better numbers than that. I don't have any fancy production, right? There's no camera crew, right? Moving the camera around, switching to different angles and doing this and doing that, making sure the audio was absolutely perfect, letting me know when to go to commercial break. Or honestly, I don't even do any brand deals. If you guys haven't noticed, I've gotten plenty of offers, right, to do promos and whatnot. Maybe one day I will, but it has to be a brand that I truly believe in and something that I genuinely use, But yeah, I don't have any of that, and I can pull better numbers than that. That is absolutely wild. And also, I'm not on national television either. Nobody can just turn on their television screen, right? I mean, unless you go to YouTube, the YouTube app on your TV. Nobody can just pull me up on their television like you can some of these major networks. And they got 83,000 views on CNN over the course of 3 hours. I want to play this clip from Megyn Kelly because she dives into some of the more recent numbers, because those were numbers back in, I believe she said in May. Check out these other numbers that Megyn Kelly talks about here. And yeah, man, mainstream media, I don't even feel bad for them because they did this to themselves.
Reported by Adweek. Now averaging between April and June, okay, so that's a quarter, 1 million in the prime time for its best shows. 1 million. All right, I mean, when I was at Fox, we were doing like 3 million and change on the Kelly File. And then on the big news nights, you could add a couple of extra million to that. Like 1 million? That's what I used to get on America's Newsroom with Hemmer in 2007 at 9 a.m. But now they're getting 1 million in the prime time. Prime time. Any show on the Fox News prime time that would, even today, especially because now, it's inflated under Trump at Fox, that was getting 1 million in the prime time, you get fired. The anchor would get fired. Okay, and in the key demo of 25 to 54, MSNBC is averaging under 100,000. 91,000. That's what their prime time, the biggest ratings getters on the network, are averaging on MSNBC, a fall from year over year of 15% in the overall and 20% in the demo, which is kind of interesting. I would have thought it would have been a bigger fall given that this time last year was the lead up to the election. All right, I'm not done. Even worse is in the day on MSNBC. Total viewership plummeting 26%, an average during the day of 596,000, so under 600,000 viewers on your average MSNBC daily show, and 57,000 in the key demo. Under 50,000 is slashies. They don't even give you the number. You don't know what you got under 50,000. You just know you got slashies, which means you are a loser. That's really what that means. Double L for loser. So they're getting 600,000 in the daytime and 57,000 in the demo. That's a nightmare. Let me do CNN. They're in last place. They're lower than MSNBC. God, how can you go lower? So I'm ripping on MSNBC for having 1 million averaging in the prime time. Guess what CNN's average is in the prime time? 538,000 in the overall. In the total viewers, under 540,000 people. This is CNN. It's the face like of the airport TV. It's everybody knows CNN. No one wants to buy the product. In the demo, 105,000 in the prime time. They're average.
Absolutely, positively wild numbers right there, especially when you consider, you know, when you go to like your local gym or, you know, basically anywhere, right? On the televisions, what do you see? The news. You see the news. Like, oh my goodness. I mean, they're everywhere and still cannot pull in numbers. Still can't get good numbers. Absolutely, positively wild stuff. And listen, it's their own fault. It is their own fault. And what's even crazier is that they're continuing to double down on this nonsense, on the lies, and on the Trump derangement. Like, it'd be one thing if they like, all right, guys, we're going to pivot. We're actually going to talk about real news now. It's not just going to be Trump bad, Trump terrible, you know, Democrats. Oh, my goodness. How nice are Democrats? Wait, we got to throw in a little bit of negative about Democrats. Biden bad, you know, like throw in one little small segment of Biden was terrible, you know, and back to your regular scheduled program. Trump bad, Democrats great. It'll be one thing if they like switched up, but they're not switching. And it's just like, maybe they just don't care anymore because their ratings are continuing to fall and yet they're not pivoting. That is absolutely wild to me. But, you know, I can't be mad at it because they've caused people like me to exist, right? If they were doing their job, people like me wouldn't be here. Just saying. Take it away, Scott Jennings.
And well, if you watched any cable news over the last several days, you no doubt heard an anchor or another anchor or another anchor or another pundit or another commentator, one after the other, claiming that Washington, D.C.'s crime stats are at a 30-year low, all in their quest to discredit President Trump's move to bolster the police in our nation's capital. Well, it turns out, and most thinking people knew this already, the stats were fake. Now we have the receipts. The news site Washington Free Beacon, which I cannot recommend highly enough, dropped a blockbuster story this morning proving that the Washington Police Department intentionally falsified the crime statistics. According to internal records and communications reviewed by reporter Elena Goodman, police leaders repeatedly told officers to downgrade theft cases, knife attacks, and violent assaults to lesser offenses. See how that works? A whistleblower in the department filed a lawsuit and described the scheme this way. She was instructed to downgrade a number of felonies to misdemeanors so that there would be fewer felonies in the statistics. She also provided records showing that police leaders explicitly instructed their subordinates to underclassify certain instances of theft to keep them out of the crime stats the city reports to the public. Folks, we have entered an era of unrepentant propaganda, brought to you by the people who are supposed to give you the real stats, the real news, tell you the real truth. No wonder trust in media has cratered to all-time lows. Washington, D.C. is not a safe place. Anyone who lives there or visits often knows it. But because Donald Trump decided to do something about it, the propaganda machine whirred to life to discredit his decision. And Democrats and his opponents in the media have chosen again to die on the wrong side of another 80-20 hill, although 20 may be generous. Now let's listen to CNN's data guru.
You know, honestly, I can't even be too mad about it, right? And here's why. Mainstream media continuing to lie about everything has woken people up to the fact that they are lying. Let me explain. There were a large group of individuals, and actually I think I've shown a couple of clips of folks who were saying this exact same thing. There were a large segment of individuals in this country that still believed in mainstream media up until last year. But because mainstream media went so Trump derangement, they went so deep into the lies to where it was easy to prove that they were lying. It was super easy to prove that they were lying. You know, for example, when Trump said the whole bloodbath thing. You guys remember that? Oh, Trump said it's going to be a bloodbath if he loses the election. It's going to be a bloodbath. You can't elect somebody like that. He's threatening the country again. All those people had to do was go and look at Trump's speech and see and realize, oh, he's talking about the auto industry. He's not talking about terrorizing this country simply because he lost. He's talking about how the auto industry is going to go under because he lost. That woke people up, amongst other instances. So honestly, I'm not even I can't be too mad. I'm, in a way, I guess now that I think about it, I'm kind of cheering for them at this point. Like, keep it going. Because you're waking more and more people up to the truth, and those people aren't going to other mainstream media sources. They're going to independent sources like myself and others, right? There's other creators, other bigger creators than I am. They're going to us instead to get the truth. And we're telling them the truth, and they're realizing, oh, I've been lied to this entire time. It wasn't just the bloodbath hoax. It wasn't just that. It was Biden being cognitive, not being cognitively impaired. It was the border not being open, right? It was this, it was that, it was this thing over here, it was that thing, right? And so many different things. Oh, and they lied, they completely lied about Trump, And so honestly, I think mainstream media lying helped Trump win this past election. Because it woke people up to the truth. And those people, I mean, just think about it. If you're one of these types of individuals, a Democrat, right, a liberal, you probably hang around other liberals. And if you have that light bulb moment where it clicks on like, whoa, why'd they just lie like that? I remember, matter of fact, I think Joe Rogan was an individual that, what he was talking about Obama. Obama lied about something that was just blatantly obvious. It was super blatantly obvious. Some of you might remember what I'm talking about. I can't remember exactly what it was, but Joe Rogan was talking about it. So if you're a liberal, and you see a moment like that, right? Not only just from Joe Rogan, but you see it yourself. You see mainstream media lie, and then you realize, it's super easy to disprove or prove, that they are lying, because you can go watch what Trump said or watch what Trump actually did or go see what the truth actually is. Aren't you going to go back and tell all of your other liberal friends, like, whoa, they're actually lying? And then you're going to show them, no, look, they're lying. And your liberal friends, some of them may poo-poo you, right? Because they're lost in the sauce. They're stuck on the Democrat plantation. But others, like, oh, you're right. They are lying. What else are they lying about? Then you get curious, and then you start going down the rabbit hole. You see what I mean? It wakes more and more people up, the fact that they're lying. It's the same thing with the whole witch hunt against Trump. And I've said this time and time again. The Democrat Party honestly could have won if they just would have gone after Trump on one charge. Just one little charge that they could have locked up Trump for the next 10 to 12 years for, not the rest of his life, but basically the rest of his life, 10 to 12 years, they could have won. They could have won because they would have been able to convince enough people in this country that those charges were actually real and he actually committed those crimes. And for those crimes, he really should go to prison for 10 years. They could have convinced people of that. But instead, they're so Trump deranged that they couldn't just do one. They had to do another. And then that wasn't enough. They had to do another one. And then that wasn't enough. They had to drag him in court for this. And then that wasn't enough. They had to get his mugshot. And then that wasn't enough. They had, it made it so cartoonish that they did it so many times that it made it so cartoonish that it was completely obvious what was going on to a lot of people. And now, of course, you see all of those cases falling apart, including the latest one, the Letitia James $500 million, right? Because the interest had piled up. The New York Appeals Court shot that down, right? Under the 8th Amendment, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me on that. I think, yeah, the 8th Amendment, if I remember correctly. So I can't even really be mad at him. Like, keep on with your Trump derangement. Keep on with your lying. Keep on with your over-exaggerating. Like, keep on with it. Because you're just waking more and more people up to the truth. And the truth is, you're all liars. You're all liars. Like, check out this clip right here.
The LA County police say that they have it under control. Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know. What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now. I mean, that was a real riot.
Video after video has shown that these agents are the ones provoking protesters and also making up, aggression by these protesters that later video shows people were not aggressive.
We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting.
Unrest is isolated. LA is home to millions of people, most of whom are having a normal day here on Sunday.
You've heard reports that there are riots on the streets of Los Angeles. That is not what's happening across the city of Los Angeles. Governor,
you see what I mean? There's clear video evidence of just absolute destruction, and they're blatantly lying to people. When all you got to do is go on the internet, right, and see for yourself. Like, the clips are all there, but they're still choosing to lie, even though people can just log on to X or wherever, right, and see all the footage for ourselves and realize, that this don't look peaceful to me. They're burning cars, throwing bricks through windshields. This doesn't look like ICE is riling up people. They're just going in and grabbing the illegals and getting on out. That doesn't look like riling up anybody to me. But hey, I hope it continues, man. Do y'all? Am I tripping for that? Y'all let me know. Talk to me. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.